I'm going to make this video assuming that the Insta360 3X is working. Unlike my iPhone, I can see a little preview in the viewfinder, but the viewfinder, I guess in the 360, in Insta360 3X, to save battery, it kind of goes to sleep, it goes dark. So anyway, so let me, so I've got my kind of in honor of Oppenheimer. I haven't seen the movie yet, want to. I was going to go see it with my buddy. I guess he was going to call himself the Country Piper if he ever started a YouTube channel, but I don't think he's ever going to start a real YouTube channel. But every now and then he makes an appearance on my channel. But so I was going to try to hook up with him and go see the Oppenheimer movie, but so far he's busy, I'm busy. Maybe it'll be playing locally here, I'm hoping. Won't be an IMAX presentation to be sure, but yeah, it should be still a good story, I'm hoping so. So real quick, before I get into the video per se, I'm smoking this maple leaf in honor of a very honorable Canadian pastor, Pastor Roman Galadza, who was pastor of St. Elias Greek Ukrainian Catholic Church in Brampton, Ontario. And even though we never met in person, we talked on the phone, well, not all the time, but we talked on the phone maybe twice a year for the last 10 years, 12 years. And he was very instrumental in many ways, and spiritually is kind of a spiritual mentor to me. And the thing was that, you know, he just turned 80 years old, I think. And up until the last 3 or 4 weeks, he was fine. He was at the Divine Liturgy and at the altar and preaching and teaching, and he was starting to use a cane. But anyway, long story short, word came a couple of weeks ago that he was having something wrong with his throat. I don't know. Again, I'd never met him in person, so I'm assuming he wasn't a smoker. I know a lot of people, which is interesting, who never smoked a cigarette or a pipe or anything, and they get cancer of the larynx. And apparently, I think he had cancer of the larynx. And anyway, before you knew it, he was gone. I mean, he was just literally 3 weeks ago, he was, I think, celebrating Divine Liturgy and preaching and teaching, and now he's gone. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. But right now, I'm kind of a little bit of trying to, in my own way, honor his memory. And he was, to me, he was a great guy. Now, I don't know, I'm sure to his family and all those who knew and loved him, excuse me, you know, he's also going to be just really missed. He built that parish from the ground up, quite literally, and when it burned down 10 years ago, he built it again. So, and I'm also drinking a little bit of this is a Pete's coffee, I think it is, called creme brulee or caramel brulee, and my goodness. Now, I've, a little bit of a digression here. I had to kind of take my dental health a little bit more seriously. Not that I haven't in the last several decades, I guess, but when your teeth start getting older and your gums start kind of receding, you have to do a little extra stuff to kind of keep things on the straight and narrow. And so about 10 years ago, when I lost an awful lot of weight, some of you may recall that, I experimented with lots of different health products. And one of them was the thing called xylitol. Xylitol. And it's supposed to be a natural. It's made out of birch bark. So it's kind of it is natural. Natural sweetener. And I remember for about 3 months I'd put a little teaspoon of xylitol in my morning coffee and didn't think anything of it. Well, I found out later that the xylitol helps to balance the pH in your mouth. And so if you have, as I am, I'm prone to just generating lots and lots of plaque, as well as also kind of having inflamed gums. So I started, trying to listen to the hygienist. Our hygienist is she kind of comes across as a Nazi matron, You will do this or else. And she's just a very unpleasant person. But, so I finally invested last year into it's like a water pick, but it's for your shower. So you don't have to, get your whole bathroom messy and everything. You can do it all in the shower and it doesn't make a big mess. And apparently that had a real positive effect. Apparently one of my visits, she was raving about how my gums look really healthy and clean. So I was grateful for that. But then I had a crown done shortly after that. And after this crown went in, I have a little pocket where I can't really, floss doesn't really seem to get the debris out. So anyway, long story short, I found another little set of toothpicks that are great, and that really cleans that one little problem spot out really, really well. Can't overdo it though. I get a little bit, then it gets raw because I'm really ripping it all out. But anyway, but I started thinking about, well, I got plaque. Now part of it is honest, a little too much TMI, I know. But I kind of go in. I have good weeks and months, and then I slip and I go out and I'll eat something sweet, and it kind of starts me down that road for a week or two, and then I stop and I go, no, I can't be doing that, So I kind of have binges where I, will eat certain sweets that I've been craving for maybe months, maybe even a year. I'll say, I'm going to go get some of this, and I'm just going to enjoy it. And I do, but I pay a price. So, long story short, I remember that when I was drinking this xylitol in my coffee, one of my dental checkups was phenomenal. What had happened was the previous checkup, they do the little probing and everything was all red. You got all these pockets and everything, and your gums are bad, and you need to really take better care of yourself, and blah, 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 blah. So as I started getting rid of the sugar and the carbs, and I was, looking for alternate sweeteners. It's funny, I have like a sweet tooth, but it's like a binge kind of thing. Normally when I'm just living my life, I don't even think about sugar. But when I get stuck on it, literally, it's kind of like alcohol for me. It really is. So doing this xylitol stuff for about 3 months, and when I went in for my next checkup, I probably had about 3 months on carnivore diet or paleo diet at the time. And they were raving about how my gums had healed up. They're like, this is green, this is green, this is green, this is green. Your gums, what happened? What are you doing? So they called in the doc and, the dentist, and he's looking around, and old Dr. Edziak, he was a great guy. I hope he's still alive, but he had a heart attack a couple of years ago and had to retire. But anyway, he turns to me and he goes, what was your diet like? And I said, I gave up carbs and sugar. And he goes, that's it. That's all it is. But I was also doing the xylitol. And the xylitol apparently is kind of an interesting chemical. It fools the bad bacteria in your mouth. And it's sort of like if you have, let's say you have mice in your house and you give them that poison and they eat the poison and they go back and die. Apparently it's almost exactly the same system that the bacteria eat this xylitol and they can't process it and they die. And so instead of sticking like barnacles to your teeth, they just slide off. And I kind of noticed that the inside of my teeth and everything feel cleaner. So I know some people, and even I kind of got nervous about, well, you know, it's a chemical, and you know, xylitol is not a very nice sounding name. It sounds very very chemical like, you know, like an experiment. But listening to some dental people, professional dental people, saying that, yeah, if you have problems with plaque, you might want to look into switching to xylitol, because again, it kind of lowers it balances the pH in your mouth, so it's not so acidic, and then the bacteria that form plaque, when they ingest the xylitol, it kills them. So they don't have a chance to form plaque on your teeth. And I still do the flossing with these special flossers, and you know, so we'll see how things go. So don't know why I got into that. Sorry if that was too much information for you all. Oh yeah, I was telling you that I was drinking this delicious creme brulee or creme caramel coffee, and it's phenomenal. It has a nice sweet flavor, but it's not overpowering by any stretch of the imagination. Doesn't taste like saccharin, and it's just perfect. It is absolutely perfect. It's like liquid dessert. And but the nice thing is that because it has xylitol there, I don't think I have to worry about any dental caries forming new ones. And I think things are going to be fine. So anyway. So I'm talking about the Insta360 3X 360 camera, which I'm using to film this video, this hot August nights video. And so I wanted to break this out. I got this back during the snow season, and I took a couple of videos with this camera, and I think the video color was phenomenal, just really vibrant. To me, it wasn't overdone. Some cameras now, they really punch up the colors to where they look, well, pretty fake. I mean, they might look, to an amateur, they might look really, wow, that's awesome. But to people that are into color grading, they go, well, that's all artificial. That's not real. And, you know, so. So anyway, but the colors were so crystal clear, and again, the vibrancy was just really pretty blues and everything. It was just a wonderful snow camera. And then I think I hurt my back just a couple of weeks after I got this, and I didn't get a chance to really do any more with it, I don't think. And I put it up in the shelf and said, I'll get to it later. But I did a couple of videos with it, and I was really impressed with the color quality that came out of the camera. Anyway, and the camera does some really cool things. I haven't had a chance to really take it for a test drive other than just making a couple of videos here. I have made a few 360 videos in my on my channel over the years, and they're a real bear to edit and post. So it's, you know, it's a real labor of love, if you want to use that expression, because I'm going to probably spend a couple of extra hours, at least one extra hour, trying to format the actual video to where I can actually put it in my NLE, my nonlinear editor, Final Cut Pro, to do all my little Final Cut Pro magic, you know, that I like to do. So it's not something that, you know, you just point and shoot and edit. You do have to play around with it. What was that? Anyway, so I got this Insta360, and also they have a gimbal for this. Well, actually, they have a gimbal for the phone, and I haven't even used that yet. All I did was take it out of the box, plug it in to juice it up, and I never got a chance to, you know, play with it. So that's been about 2 or 3 months. So anyway, Technology, as you all know, I love my technology, but sometimes it it just requires so much concentration to focus on, you know, how do you work this machine, you know, how do you get it to give you the best picture quality, and how do you edit it in post, and you have to, you know, every time you pick up something new, it's a learning experience. And that's okay, that's good. I think I shared last video, old guys like me learning new things keeps you somewhat, you know, focused and a little sharper than you would if you're just watching reruns of, you know, Jeopardy or something, you know. Wow. So I've been playing with that, and they have a new DJI Action 4 camera, and it's hard to believe because the Action 1 came out 4 years ago, you know, this month. And I remember I had my little kitty cat Betty. I just got her, and I got this little camera, and I was playing around with the camera in my office, and the cat would come in and, you know, hang out with me, and just was really a nice experience. And I have a lot of fond memories of that year that I had the little cat and the new Action DJI Action cam, little action camera, Osmo Pocket, or not the Osmo Pocket, but the Osmo Action. Anyway, but just had a good experience of that, and in realizing that was 4 years ago. Where did the time go? Where did the time go? So, you know, we keep on keeping on. Let's see. Hold on a second here. Let me get the old pipe relit here. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. You know, this maple leaf is quite tasty, I have to say. I think it goes really well with the creme brulee. So a nice pairing all the way around. Yeah, I was gonna, I mean, I'll still, you know, Lord willing, the creek don't rise, I'm still gonna try something here. On this channel, I kind of do a lot more experimenting with technology, with cameras and, you know, film editing and things like that. And I've been wanting to do something for quite a while, actually several years. I just can't find the time to do it because it's going to take time, because I'm going to have to really be intentional in making a video instead of just, you know, setting up a tripod and turning on the camera and getting a cup of coffee and lighting a pipe. I want to try emulating, not immolating. Don't want to immolate somebody, or myself included. But I like to imitate some of the interesting YouTubers that I see from time to time. People that just have a fun way of cutting a video. And I saw this guy today, and he was doing a little review of the Osmo Action 4. And yes, I ordered one a couple days ago, so it should be here in a few days. But I was really intrigued, and I said, you know, that was a fun video. Even though I've already seen lots of reviews about the camera, obviously I'm sold. I ordered one, you know, why do I need to see another review? But this guy had just a really fun way of presenting, you know, his information about what he found to be the good points about this new action camera. But I just thought, you know, I'm wondering if he's not the only creator that I've noticed this, I've thought about. There's been a couple of them that have just a very straightforward, unique style. And I thought, you know, I wonder if I could just imitate that. What would that be like, you know? And it would be kind of a departure from what I normally present or how I present. But I just thought it'd be kind of fun. Now, I've kind of experiment with different little things from time to time, as some of you who watch these videos know. And I kind of, I don't know if I have a style my own. I don't know if I have a style, but I kind of tend towards more impressionistic kind of format, things that I don't feel like I can really put into words, and maybe I can do something evocative with the camera, that's kind of where I tend to gravitate, those kinds of people that have that kind of style. It's not so much a didactic style, it's not a documentary style, although documentary style is something I'm also interested in as well. But just so, again, a lot of people, obviously, you watch videos, you watch YouTube videos, you watch movies, and a lot of it's just kind of standard stuff. Not to say that it's substandard quality. It's just that you can only do so many camera angles, and to make it interesting. I mean, I haven't seen the Christopher Nolan film yet. I'm expecting there to be a lot of jump cuts. A lot of back and forth between color and black and white, a lot of montages. I'm expecting that. And from what I've seen in the reviews, that's probably what I'm going to get, a lot of that, which is okay. And I'm always trying to say, okay, why did they put the camera there? Why did they shoot that scene this way? And sometimes it's a creative license, and sometimes it's a good effect that works. Anyway, long story short, so I saw this guy, and just a really fun guy. I mean, he wasn't a mushroom, but he just had a really effervescent, charismatic. I know I'm not charismatic, but the way he presented everything was really well done. And I said, that might be like a lot of people when they're learning a craft, they imitate good people. That's just been history of art for centuries. You'd learn from the masters by imitating them, by trying to copy what they did. And then you would eventually maybe branch out in your own style, and you discover something that was kind of unique to you, and then you would take it and run with that. And then other people, if it was good enough and had merit, then other people would copy you. So, but you learn kind of the basics and the creative flow of things by copying good other creators. So I saw this person, and I just said, you know what? It'd probably take me a week to do it, because you have to set up the camera probably 1,000 times to get all these different shots, and then put it together in post. Now the thing is that I'd have to do something that I normally don't do, and that is organize all my A-roll and B-roll and stills and and audio and music and all that. And I'd have to have more of a real structure, because it would be so. It'd be a monumental video to create, because it would just be almost, I wouldn't say endless videos, but it would just be a whole bunch of clips. And I just do basically, as you all know, maybe one main clip, and I might throw in a few extra little things of interest. If I'm feeling creative, I might do one of my little montages, like I think I did in my little Oppenheimer or Weisenheimer video. but I am still wanting to learn as much as I can, and there's so much to learn to do in camera, as well as as in post. I saw an interesting video, although I have to say the guy didn't sell me. I was hoping, I always love plugins, especially if they're really good plugins and they're give you some endless options for creativity. But supposedly it's a plugin that makes your digital files or videos look like film, celluloid film. And I kept waiting for him to, wow me and show me, wow, that looks just like a movie, a cinematic movie. And didn't look any different. I'm like, I'm not seeing the difference. And this guy was just going on and on about how wonderful this new device, this new plugin was, and how it transformed his video making. And I felt kind of sorry for him, going like, it's like somebody, I guess, that maybe they either get a new outfit or a new haircut or maybe get plastic surgery or something, and they think, man, this has changed my life. And you're trying to be polite about it and go, well, I don't know what you're seeing, but I'm not seeing it, and because it would be really obvious if it truly looked like film, and it just didn't. I mean, not a little bit. I'm kind of going, well, maybe that one clip kind of, sort of, if I look at, I'm like going, well, I'm not going to waste my money on that plug-in, because clearly there's no no difference. Now maybe he, I don't know. It's just sometimes, but there are some effects and plugins that are quite, are quite dramatic. They're good. They're easy to use. They make a good, maybe a good transition in a video. Recording. What? Start recording? I thought I was recording. Oh, great. Well, I don't know, folks, if this was recording. And I'm not going to go back and do what I was just talking about, the process of making videos and how I was going to put together a special video when I find the time to do it. But we'll just have to see if that file got logged in this camera. That's the other thing about using new gear. You always assume that, well, you turn it on and it's going to work, but it also maybe has. I think this has like a little timer on it. What, 35? Does that say 35 minutes or 35 megapixels? Anyway, I don't know. Was that it? Is it overheating? Was it overheating? Testing 1, 2, 3. Oh, wait a minute. I think it goes dark. Yeah, it goes dark. And it just keeps recording, I hope. Anyway, so I guess I'll find out. And this was kind of an experimental video anyway, to use this Insta360 3X, because I hadn't used it in a couple of months. I think I said earlier that I got it back in wintertime. I did a couple of videos for my other channel, but I hadn't done any really long-term videos, I don't think. Now maybe, actually I take that back. I might have done one video, a 360 video for this channel using this camera. But I also had another 360 camera that I was using, and I think I broke that camera out and was playing with that as well. So I can't remember. I just can't remember now. But anyway, so all right. So let me go ahead, and I'm going to probably share a little personal reflection about the passing of Father Roman and kind of what that means to me, and then I'll probably just end the video. Hopefully it's still recording. So yeah, about 12 years ago, I came across St. Elias Greek-Ukrainian Catholic Church in Brampton, Ontario, online on YouTube, and I was just transfixed by the beauty of the music, the chanting, the liturgy itself, and I was hooked. And so I remember listening to this priest and thinking, gosh, I'd love to talk to this guy, but I wonder if he'd even, because some people, I've had a few people, and I don't want to mention names, and I don't have any, and I have no resentments towards them, but they're YouTubers, they're people that are online, and I've called them, and basically their secretaries say, I'm sorry, but they don't take calls from people they don't know. And I said, but and I maybe say I'm a padre, I'm a pastor, and they, yeah, sorry, no. And one person, said, well, their time is so limited, they have to be very judicious in in managing their time, and they just don't have time for that. I said, really? And they said, sorry, but that's the way it is, and that's the way he wants it. And I said, well, okay, and I remember telling this priest secretary, I just said, well, just tell him that I enjoy watching his videos. I've learned an awful lot. I appreciate, his honesty, and I respect his privacy at the same time. So, no harm, no foul, and we just tell him, wish him a great day, have God's blessings, and I just hung up. And, I've had a couple of people where I tried to reach out to them and say, hey, I'd like to if you have just a minute or two, can you talk to me? And I'd like to talk to you, and there's been a few that have been very gracious, and Father Roman was one of them. And I'll never forget, first time he was very, very kind and friendly, and welcomed the phone call, and who are you? And I told him who I was, and so he goes, and so and so as I learned more about the Byzantine Catholic Church, I found out that there was a sister parish of St. Elias here in California. Lo and behold, about 20 minutes down the road from where I was at. And so he put me in touch with the pastor, and I went there, and I was going to Holy Wisdom Parish on Sundays for about 2 years, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was a small little community. It was a growing community, and I was learning everything I could about the Byzantine Catholic Church. And really, and then every now and then I call Father Roman, and sometimes we talk about just theology things, and then sometimes I tell him, kind of some of my spiritual struggles, and so I've always considered him a spiritual mentor in a very real way. And I really wanted to go spend time with them, and he invited me actually on many occasions to come back, and he says, well, we're building an addition to our rectory to where we can have guests, and you're welcome to come anytime. And I said, Father, I'd love to. And but one thing led to another, and when I was the number 2 guy at my parish, I had a little bit more freedom to kind of do some other things other than just be kind of wedded to the parish center like I am here. So I was looking forward to eventually flying to Canada and meeting them and spending time there. But then I got transferred to Chico, and then I became the pastor there. And then all my free time was kind of sucked up. There was nobody that was going to fill in for me because we just don't have anybody to really do that. And then COVID hit. I was thinking, well, maybe I could, but then Canada had those of you who live in Canada know that the Trudeau's administration made it almost impossible. If you weren't vaxxed, you weren't getting into Canada. And so I was really, really sad. I was really sad. So anyway, about 3 weeks ago, I noticed that, Father Roman wasn't in the liturgy, and I thought, oh, maybe he's on vacation. And then I found out that he had some serious medical things, and then found out he had a diagnosis of cancer, and he had treatment, but they said he seemed to be responding positively, whatever that meant. And then tonight, I kind of sensed that something was wrong, and sure enough, went to the website, and they had the message that he had passed on Monday. So today's Friday. So, and you might say, well, you didn't even know the guy. Well, yes and no. Yes and no. I mean, I was not certainly an intimate friend of his. I would never claim that, but I can claim that he was a very positive spiritual voice in my life. And the thing is that, and I'm an old guy now, but even us old guys need somebody to look to, for guidance and encouragement and help and trying to sort problems out. And there were many times that I would call Father Roman and just kind of say, hey, I got this situation. Can I run it by you? Get your take on it? And he would say, sure, And I think he always gave me good advice. He just, he was just a very kind person. I think. Again, I don't know how his interactions were with other people. He had a wonderful family from all accounts, and I'm sure that he's going to be tremendously missed because he had been the pastor of this church for probably 35, 40 years. That's phenomenal. So, they talk about, certain people when they go, it's like a light goes out. And yeah, and I had another dear parishioner pass away last week. And, he was a delightful guy named Roy. And and again, he was a little, obviously, I think this guy was in his 30s. I think it was 93 when he passed. And, but for years, he was always a kind, encouraging parishioner. He was into the charismatic movement, he and his wife, and, they were delightful people. They couldn't do enough for you a lot of times. And they were just always, I don't think I ever saw him have a bad day in his life. He always had a smile on his face. And, in some ways he was also kind of a little bit of a father figure in some ways, even though I was a priest. But he was like, he was probably my age that I am now when I met him. I was like 34, 35. I was 35, and he was probably 61 or 62. But like I said, he lived another 30 some odd years, and he was a great guy, and sad, very sad, and I certainly maybe that's part of it too, is that knowing and we all know, although we deceive ourselves thinking we're going to live forever, and we just don't, and when we're gone, and when the people that we love and are gone, they're gone, and it's sort of like, gosh, why didn't I spend more time, or why didn't I cultivate that relationship more, and you feel that regret. And, because I really had, ideas that I was maybe gonna, maybe, who knows, maybe retire and then move up to Canada and spend maybe the rest of my life at St. Elias. I mean, there was a thought in my little pea brain that might be something that would appeal to me. Like, well, okay, and I just spend what time I have left learning about the Byzantine Catholic Church and just kind of maybe another journey for me. I don't know, but obviously that wasn't meant to be. But there's regret, there's sadness there tonight, and and Father Roman, one of the things that I didn't want to push him. He volunteered in the beginning, but he got busy with other things, and then I think I said their parish burned down, so they were consumed with the last 10 years really rebuilding everything. I don't know if they ever. I mean, the church is rebuilt now. Thanks be to God. It's beautiful. It's glorious. But that takes a lot out of you. But he wanted to try and put our Novus Ordo, what we call the Novus Ordo Mass, to Byzantine chant. He says, "Oh, I've always wanted to do this." And I said, "Would you be willing to help me?" And he said, "Oh, I'll do the best I can." But when you're long distance and other things pop up, it's not a priority for him. And he said he would help me. And like I said, there were times that, anytime I called him, he would always either call me back or he would take my phone call, and he was always very gracious. But after a few years, knowing that, this probably isn't going to happen because he's just too busy, I just stopped asking, because I thought, what, if I keep bugging him, I might alienate him. I didn't want to do that. So, it was maybe one of those things that he, like a bucket list kind of thing. I'd love to do it, but I just don't have the time. And I had to respect that, and I had to accept it, for what it was. But anyway, so that was one of the regrets, I think, because I really wanted to have, our mass parts, put into something that's a little bit more a cappella chanting like the Byzantine Church does. simple melodies that I think would just really be beautiful and simple and singable. And he said he wanted to do that, and we were going to do that together. And he says, well, maybe you can, that was part of the invitation was, well, if you come out here to Brampton, then we can sit down maybe over a week and do it. And then he said, the only other thing I can tell you is if you can't come here, maybe we could do it over the phone, but I don't think that's what you're looking for. And I said, well, I don't know if that's really going to do it, Father. And he says, well, see if you can kind of get out here sometime soon so we can do it. And I said, okay. But so I kind of, maybe I let the ball drop too. So it wasn't his fault. It was just that the opportunity we never got an opportunity to do that. So anyway, like I said, regrets, sadness, truly somebody I think was a real bright light in our world. And the thing is that, it's so funny. There are people that you just think are going to be there forever. They've been there for a long time and they seem to be doing great, and you think they're going to be there forever, and then they're gone. And that's just the way of life. And so I guess that's being very pensive about this whole thing tonight. And just kind of saying, well, poor Father Roman. Well, not poor Father Roman, but, the people that, look to him every week and, on all the other services that he provided for his parish. He was probably, and he was an awesome guy. I mean, I don't know how many languages he spoke, but, he spoke obviously fluent Ukrainian and English, and I'm assuming probably French, because of living in Quebec, and of course, probably being in Europe, you have to learn. That's the thing about Europe; they're not just bicultural, bilingual. They're tri and quadlingual. Some of them, because they live so close together to different countries that speak different languages, and if you're going to do commerce or you're going to, relate to people, you have to know different languages. So, he was one of those multilinguistic people, and I think obviously Slavic, and Russian. So the guy was phenomenal, but he was always a very sweet guy, very gentle. Although he did claim that he was, he told me in his own way that, he's very, very set in his ways. He's very opinionated. He's very conservative. He goes, I'm probably right. I'm far right to Attila the Hun. One time he told me. I thought that was kind of good. So we got along really well. We had a lot in common, and like I said, he gave me some good advice from time to time, and sometimes he just listened to me prattle on like I'm doing now, and sometimes he would answer specific questions if I had them, and he also was very gracious to, send me vestments and other Byzantine things that I use on a regular basis. So like I said, I feel like I've lost a real mentor, and they're few and far between now, because most of the people that I know are either gone or they're getting ready to check out, and it's like it's kind of lonely. It's kind of lonely out here, So anyway, I just don't know why I'm even making this video. I mean, I try to make a video once a month, sometimes twice or three times, depending on how I'm feeling. And thanks be to God, I'm feeling better, than I have been in, over the winter months with my back out. I was really struggling with that for a while, and, really looking for healing. And I have to say that, I was, I'm celebrating the fact that God kind of healed me again. So, wow. So I have to really kind of let that sink in. So I'm not done yet. So obviously I got more work to do, I guess. But it's just nice when you have companions, in the old vineyard to help you. And when you're kind of out there see everybody dwindling, it's very disconcerting and it's very sad. So anyway, well, okay. I don't know if this even recorded. I'll find out in a few minutes, and if it did, great, and if it didn't, well, then I'll just have to make another video. That's all there is to it. Okay, so as I like to say from time to time, take some time to enjoy life and enjoy a pipe. If you can with a friend, that's even better. And so light up your world and light up your life and light up the life of others with joy and happiness. And we'll see you in the next one, hopefully soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.